And if you understand me there, you can see where I'm going. Because when others write your story, they don't write it properly. So unfortunately, our perspectives on migration have been shaped by what we see on television screens and possibly reading newspapers. I'm not castigating our media people there, but what I'm actually saying is they've shaped the narrative in a way which lacks science, it lacks data. And it is quite crucial that Zimstat has started providing this data. Because if you ask anybody about migration, they will tell you about people going under the fences into Limpopo and things like that. That's what they see on television. But is that an accurate narrative? What percentage of people go to South Africa through that means? Actually, our own estimation is that regular migration causes more than 90% of movements in South Africa. So that small bit we see of people going under the fences is not the reality. So we need to tell our story accurately using numbers. There are other narratives which I need to dispel for the sake of the media, which is also there. And this is based on actual information. Zimbabwean migration has been portrayed as an uncontrollable crisis. That's not true. Migration is a natural human phenomenon. If you think about it, everybody needs to move. Who needs to be stuck in a certain place? Everybody needs to move in their lifetime. They need to, get economic opportunities and so forth. So this actually has led to skewed narratives focusing on Zimbabweans being the predominant migratory nation in Southern Africa. It's not also true. We are equally migratory compared to Lesotho, compared to Eswatini, compared even to Botswana and so forth. So we are not in any way different. And our migration has been given attention in one direction, which is okay because as the numbers show, we move quite a lot to South Africa. But we also move a lot to other countries. And one thing which is also not being said by the media is the number of people who are immigrants into Zimbabwe. So if you balance the two, we are receiving and we are sending out. So we are just not a sending out nation. And as I say, migration is not a new phenomenon. It's actually a human phenomenon which we are all entitled to. And the last aspect which I need to actually say is this issue has actually been handled more through emotions rather than evidence-based responses. Because in the countries where Zimbabweans are, they are actually being looked in an emotional way. And we now tend to also respond to it in emotions and so forth. Yet it is actually something which is very normal. So there is a hidden story about the Zimbabwean migration, which we also don't get to hear a lot. The first part of it is mixed migration flows, which actually my OM colleague has indicated, constitutes to more than 90% of the movement. And it is normal movement. And it's largely the young and economically active people who move, slightly more men than women. And Zimbabwean migration is not unique and has similar characteristics to migrants or migrations everywhere in the world. Actually, when I looked at it, migration, Zimbabwean migration almost falls quite low when you rank it by countries of the world. We are not the highly migratory part. So, I can actually conclude by just saying, we are in a globalized world which has opened new avenues for migration, whether it be internal migration, movement within Zimbabwe, or movement across national boundaries. We know for sure distances have shrunk. I mean, if I decide today I want to be in Harare by midnight, I can just jump onto a 9 o'clock flight and I'll be. So distances have far, far shrunk, and people can move and use these opportunities. We actually harness on these shrinking distances to move. And the cost of moving now is also cheap. We have low-cost airlines, we have low-cost, railways, and so on and so forth. And opportunities are actually open. One of the things which we need to emphasize, I think, with our IO colleagues is labor should flow where it is required. Because there are areas where there are labor shortages. We heard about people going to fill in the health sector in the UK. We have seen the US struggling with truck drivers, and people are coming from Africa. So labor should actually be required, should actually flow where it is required. And if we follow those fundamentals, then we can actually see that migration itself is actually a very necessary human development issue. So, to conclude, we actually, given that most of the Zimbabwean migration is intra-Africa within the continent, we actually need to promote orderly circulation of skills and development on the continent. So, proper engagement with the South Africans, with the Botswanas and Namibias on promoting orderly migration would be the way to go, because if we let nature take its course and say, South Africa says this, Zimbabwe says that, then we'll never harness the benefits out of migration. Actually, it will be a very contentious issue. So I would end there and say thank you so much. I mean, it's a subject which we need to look in its positivity. It's actually a very positive way. It's only that we need to shape our migration story as Zimbabwe, because we have let others drive that story, and that story has been driven in a way which has actually, demonized actually migration and criminalized it. Now migration is being seen in a criminal sense, that people who are migrating from Zimbabwe are contributing to, crimes in the destination countries and so forth and so forth. That's also not accurate. All those things need to be corrected. And the data which seems that actually has generated, I think, should be taken up with academia here. We have also the newspapers. I think the newspapers, to me, can actually shape the migration story. So thank you so much.